Those individuals that, like myself, voted for President Trump. You are one of 4,483,810 Californians who voted for President Trump.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, the victory wave that started from the East Coast didn't stop at the California border. The reality is we won. And we won. And we haven't seen Democrats this angry since Republicans abolished slavery. And, it's bad. Because we won, and we're going to keep on winning. Those individuals, those California voters who voted for President Trump, those are more votes than Jerry Brown received for governor.
Yes.
That's more votes than Gavin Newsom received for lieutenant governor. We already have enough people registered, enough people voting for me to be the next lieutenant governor of California.
Wow.
Now, what does the lieutenant governor do? Aside from when Jerry Brown went to China, the lieutenant governor is the governor. And executive orders stand while the governor is out of the state. But what I just heard today is my friend Ben Shapiro was just told that he can't go speak in Berkeley at a school funded by taxpayers. The lieutenant governor sits on the board of regents for the UC system. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody with a backbone and a voice and a microphone holding Janet Napolitano accountable for hiding over 150 million of your tax dollars?
Yes.
When they were working on the budget? Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody who is in a position to demand that the police departments on our UC campuses uphold the law and protect individuals like Ann Coulter when she goes to speak,
yes,
or when Ben goes to speak, or when conservatives go to speak? We have a right to speak on the campuses that we pay for. Right. And as lieutenant governor, you will see that that right is enjoyed by all. We, as Republicans, are for freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and we're going to fight for it. So I want to thank all the things that Arthur has done. Arthur, we were together at the Torrance City Council.
Yes.
And I drove from the San Fernando Valley to go and address that council because they voted against the sanctuary state bill. My opponent is Kevin DeLeon, the author of that bill. And everywhere I go, I speak out against it. There's a lot of other people running on both sides of the aisle. But I have one opponent. That's Kevin DeLeon. Because Kevin DeLeon needs to be prevented from being the next lieutenant governor. Otherwise, in 8 years, he will be the governor. This is our opportunity. We're on a winning streak. We're united. We're mobilized throughout the state of California. And I just came from speaking to about 200 seniors in Irvine. Yesterday, I spoke to a Republican group in Oceanside.
Wow.
And so we are focusing throughout in Southern California now, and within the next 2 months, we'll be heading up to Northern California. So it's really exciting to see what is happening. Groups like this are energizing. They're growing exponentially. We're going to do this. So my website went active today. I'm going to leave some cards over on the table that has my website, my cell number. If you would like to volunteer on the campaign, if you want to put together a group of people, be happy to come out. I want to thank my friend Alan, who has volunteered on the campaign. He is going to be one of my senior consultants. Alan drove me to Oceanside and drove me to Irvine. He's a great driver, and you know, we're going to do this. And with regards to the trash monopoly in Los Angeles,
that's the lawsuit, right?
That's the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Los Angeles,
finally,
the politicians and working with organized labor, took over the commercial trash industry in Los Angeles. That meant every commercial business, every restaurant, every apartment building, every manufacturing company, every Walmart, every single commercial business in the city of Los Angeles is now under the thumb of a monopolized system controlled by the unions. Well, that's not right. That's not America. That's not the America I grew up in. So we filed a lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles and the Department of Sanitation for violating the state constitution.
Finally.
People are just now getting their new bills.
Ooh.
A fella called me up yesterday. He was paying $77.50 a month for his trash to be picked up. His new bill under the monopoly is $539.
What?
Another individual that owns a manufacturing company in South Los Angeles called me up, and without notice, their trash bin was exchanged for the new company, and their bill was increased 100%. Another individual was paying $3,700 a month for 3 large apartment units. It's now $9,000 a month.
Oh my God.
And when they contest the bill, the trash companies tell them it's the law. You have to pay it, and I'm the only one you can do business with. That does not sound like the America that we grew up in. And so, as a lieutenant governor, I will use that position to fight things like the gasoline tax, to fight things like the document tax, to fight the tax, all of the taxes that are coming in line. But make no mistake, the next battle is going to be with Proposition 13. They are lining up to separate commercial from residential. Don't be fooled. There are challenges within the current system, but those challenges could have been addressed. However, the bills to address those challenges were killed in committee because they don't want those challenges addressed. They want Proposition 13 gone. And so this week, I was given the endorsement of the Apartment Owners Association of California.
Wow.
Which represents over 20,000 housing providers in the state of California. And so we are moving forward. We're excited. You know, it's an honor to come here. I see Arthur was in my neck of the woods the other day.
Whose office were we in front of?
Brad Sherman.
Oh, the delusional guy.
And so, once again, you know,
he attacks elderly people.
David Hernandez, candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Let me give you a chance to, anybody want to ask some questions? I always want to give that opportunity.
Any question is on the table, anything you want.
So, like, I mean, you listed, go ahead. Yeah, go.
How much have you fundraised so far?
Hardly any. But what I have done is I've invested 15 years of developing relationships with people.
Right.
Like the Apartment Owners Association. Because as we saw with Meg Whitman, who put $200 million of her own money for governor, it's not just about money. It's about, I know the work that you have done, the relationships that you have built, getting the word out. Remember, it's about votes. It's not about money. The money must have a vote return on it. It's about votes. And so, getting the message out, we'll need to raise enough money to get the message out to let people know that they have the opportunity to vote again in the upcoming election.
So my question was, you listed some of your authorities or powers, but what would you see as the top 3 issues you'd want to take on that you'd be able to take on as Lieutenant Governor?
Well, as Lieutenant Governor, as an American citizen first, Lieutenant Governor second.
Mm-hmm. But in the role,
it has to be, number one has to be illegal immigration.
Okay.
Because if we look at the challenges that we're having in our cities with a 40% increase in violent crime. Now, why is that? And look at the increase in property crime. Why is that? Because politicians in Sacramento passed bills like AB 109 and Prop 47, put those on the ballot, and because they had to eliminate the overcrowding in prison, because they refused to build new prisons, and so they let those 25,000 felons out of state prison. Where did they go? They went into our communities. They changed those felonies to misdemeanors and made them retroactive. So So that means they can break into your car every night of the week. And it only counts as one misdemeanor per break-in. There's no room in the county jail for them. There is no longer a deterrent. Well, I'm going to come up with an idea. It might not be too popular. I call it the Family Reunification Plan. The Family Reunification Plan is that we work with Mexico and build a prison in Mexico, because we can't just deport people when they get out of prison. We've seen too often, until that wall is built, deporting does
build
not
that wall.
do enough. You see people over and over that have been deported 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. Some of my friends' family members were killed by people who were deported 5 times. So deportation is not the answer unless we have a secure border. But how about a family reunification plan so we can empty out our state prison with individuals who are in this country illegally from Mexico, and then that way they can have visits from their family. It will help them in their rehabilitation process. It is more humane to adopt a family reunification plan. And guess what? Since almost 20% of the inmates at state prison are in this country illegally, and they're not in prison because they're in the country illegally, we'll have 20% more room to keep our own criminals behind bars and out of your neighborhoods. So illegal immigration impacts every single issue. So that's one. And come on, we know that this gasoline tax money is not going to go to fix our roads. We know that, but they do need to be fixed. Los Angeles in 2012 got $1.2 billion for infrastructure from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Did they fix the sidewalks?
No.
Did they fix the roads?
No.
What they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on summer night lights programs so that gang members could play basketball in your parks.
Can you watch the phone?
And they paid not to commit crime in those areas because it makes it look bad. But even more unconscionable is they paid victims not to come forward and report those crimes because they did not want to show that those programs are failed. And when we're looking at the homelessness, and you have individuals that are benefiting financially, there's a reason that there's so many homeless. When you have developers who are connected with the city that get $400,000 per unit to house a homeless person, you cannot tax your way out of homelessness. Not with a corrupt, inept system that we have. And so, illegal immigration, infrastructure, and public safety. Come on, people. We can't afford to have any more victims in our communities. How can we sit back and allow a state-of-the-art jail at the Harbor Division Station in San Pedro remain empty because politicians won't fund the necessary personnel to fill it? So consequently, when someone is arrested in San Pedro, rather than take them to the Harbor Division, they have to drive them to 77th Division. If there's only 3 or 4 cars on the street anyhow, do police officers really want to arrest somebody for a misdemeanor if they know that they're going to be taken off the street and leave you at the mercy of violent criminals for hours? Those are some of the reasons why these property crimes aren't being addressed. These misdemeanors aren't being addressed. I met with the Highway Patrol. I met with the Sheriff's Department. I met with LAPD. Met with the Burbank PD. They all said the same thing. The answer is political. We can only do what we have the resources to do and what our politicians tell us. So whether it's LAPD or whether it's the fire department, who is still down 18 companies because they did a 9% budget cut across the board. public safety has to be included in that top 3, Arthur. So, if there's any other questions?
One more question?
What about government pensions? Anybody ever say we should lower government pensions?
Well, when you look at, when I get out of the Navy, I went to work for the city of Los Angeles in the police department in the garage. And back then it was like, okay, well, it's a secure job. I started at $700 a month, plus I had the GI Bill. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I was able to buy a house, and I had these city jobs were meant to be, like secure jobs, and so you didn't get all of these benefits.
Right.
But what happened when they unionized?
That's it.
And then the unions got the politicians elected.
Yep.
What a deal. They get to elect the people that negotiate the contracts with them. That's why this trash franchise thing was so insidious.
Yep.
Because Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, which is the group behind it, under the mantle of the environment, they rolled this big green Trojan horse right into the middle of the city of Los Angeles, and out came all of these labor organizers, headed by Maria Elena Durazo, who was the head of the AFL-CIO, and worked with the politicians and the city attorney and drafted this ordinance that took away the rights of every commercial customer in the city of Los Angeles. And in order to receive one of the franchises, you had to be a union company, or you had to have a labor peace agreement with a union.
Yep.
My friends, that is un-American. That's why we sued them in court last month.
Yes.
That's why we're looking to go and file for a temporary restraining order next week.
Do it.
With all these affidavits from all these people that are calling me. And you know what? They know who's fighting for them. They also know that I'm a candidate for lieutenant governor. And as a candidate and as lieutenant governor, I will continue that fight for free enterprise. You want to be pro-choice? Yeah, pro-choice, and who you get to do business with. Let's start there. But on the other level, yeah, I'm a right-wing conservative gun-owning Christian, and the Second Amendment, I don't just support it, I live it, and that's the reality. And if you have a 40% increase in violent crime, I think that's clear and present danger to all of us, which means that I believe you have a right. There was something in that document that we kind of honor: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, if you're surrounded by violent criminals who care absolutely nothing about your life, then I believe you should be able to carry a concealed carry weapon, should you choose. Yeah. So, well, California is a maybe it's time it became a shall. And so those are some of the things. So whether it's protecting Proposition 13, protecting your civil rights, and let's face it, you know what? Free speech at the universities, illegal immigration, public safety, the list goes on and on and on. It's exciting to be at this time in California. A lot of my friends moved away. I said, no, we're not. And this thing about separating California from north to south, we're going to end up in the south. No, let's stay together.